Alright guys, I'm going to bring you 5 just really simple tips and tricks for body work, just to make life a little bit simpler. And if you're new to body work and you've never done body work, things that are good to know. How to tape off moldings like this. If you don't want to pull the molding off, a really quick way to make it work. Instead of fighting with the tape and trying to line up the tape up and down and get it just right, there's a really fast way to do it. And all you need is your tape and a really sharp knife. So we'll put the tape on there, and I'll try to get close enough. You can see where he made a little crease so he could see the edge right where he needs to cut. He's just going to take his sharp knife, not applying too much pressure because he doesn't want to cut through the molding or gouge into the metal. Just going to run his knife along his crease that he made in the tape. Peel the tape off just like that, nice and straight. Don't have to fight with it. And that was all it took to get a nice straight even line. For now, we'll just center up our tape with the edge of the paper, leave it overhang. And that way you can attach the tape right to your other tape that already has a nice clean edge. Voila. Then you can trim up the paper around the areas you need in the same manner. And in this case, we're going to wrap it around the window here because we're going to be pulling the door off and we don't want to get paint on our glass. So we're just going to go ahead and wrap it around the backside, and we'll have to taper the backside of the glass. You can use that same taping method to cover areas like these stickers if you do not want to remove them. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. On this side, we've already done it. We just used some tape and laid it over and covered them all up, and then used the knife trick to just cut around them, so we got nice clean lines around them. And that way, after the car's painted, we'll just pull the tape off and won't have to remove any of these items. Okay, here's another tip when you got for sanding concaves or convex shapes that you can't really get a block on, but you still need to sand it so the paint will stick. You can use a red Scotchbrite. They sell at most auto body stores, or even, you know, car stores in general. Napa or O'Reilly's usually carries them. But you can use these red Scotchbrites to just scuff up areas that you need paint to stick that there's no way you'll be able to get a block into. With these, you can fold them up, apply some pressure, and the Scotchbrite will actually make the shape you need so that it will be sanded. You can also use the Scotchbrite if you have nice paint that's not chipped to scuff the surface to repaint. For example, inside door jambs, it's really good in there because it helps you get inside those concave shapes that still need scratched up so your paint would adhere in those areas. But it just makes quick work of nice clean paint that has never been weathered and is not chipped and built. A cool trick that you can use, and all it takes is your hand. If you're sanding areas And you can see metal here and blue paint here. This is obviously thicker than it is at the metal. So if you just run your hand up and down this area, if you can't feel it, if you primer over it and then sand it again, it will disappear. But if you can feel it now, the chances of getting rid of it when you paint are slim to none. You'll still be able to see transitions like that. Okay, so if you're using power tools, this is just a good overall thing to think about. If you're using a DA or an orbital sander, is to stay away from glass, body lines, rounded edges, plastic, and also keep in mind your DA is flat. So when you're using your DA, keep your DA flat against the panel. Don't use this. It's going to be tempting to use the DA like this because it does strip paint a lot faster, but it will dig holes. So you won't end up with a flat surface. So keep it flat. And when you get to areas like this, stop using the DA and switch to hand sand. Because if you can try and be as careful as you want along these edges with the DA or an orbital sander, but if this thing kicks and you hit your glass, you're going to end up with scratch marks in your glass. And where did I put that sanding block? Okay, well, for tip number 5, I would suggest keeping your workspace clean because it gets dangerous. You get all these trip hazards, stuff starts piling up on the top of your project. That's not a good thing to do, is use your project as a workbench, because you never know, while you're sanding and you get vibrations and you get stuff that falls and you can get cracked windshields and broken parts and pieces that you got laying around. It's just not good. So that would be my next tip, is keep your workspace clean, and that's exactly what we are going to do right now, is take a break from the project for a minute and clean this shop. Got the shop tidied up a bit. It's not great, but it's better. But we are still working, so we're gonna keep making messes, and we're gonna have to come back again before we paint and vacuum and really get a lot of this dust. And we'll probably build a paint booth in here just so we can keep the dust down before we paint. It's looking a lot better. We're not gonna be tripping on stuff. We got everything kind of tidied up. We found a lot of the stuff we were missing. So I hope you enjoyed the tips, watching us clean up the shop and getting a little bit more comfortable workspace. So if you did enjoy it, please like, comment, subscribe, and stick with us for the next one because we're back to work on the project, and we'll see you soon.